What up, Chicken Nuggets? Tyler here with the Tarver Cards podcast entitled Sports Cards Are Dope. Today I want to talk to you about the WNBA Prizm boom and why at the end I'm going to talk about haters and how they're soft looking. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. There has been a market shift and we have not seen something like this ever. So WNBA Prizm Hobby just came out and it is selling consistently around $1,200. Compared to NBA, the men's league, NBA Hobby is selling around $800 consistently. So this is retail aftermarket sales, but that's what they're selling for. That is more, I'm going to break this down, that is more for women's basketball than men's basketball. This is the first time in history that WNBA Prizm Hobby has outsold NBA Hobby. And I want to talk a little bit about what this could mean and what trends are going to follow and why this is. And so if you're thinking like, oh, it's just women's stuff, whatever, it's never been popular in the past, you are ignoring something that just, again, it may not be your thing, but you're ignoring something that has a lot of potential to keep growing, okay? If you're ignoring this, I mean, like soccer cards, that blew up after, they're starting to get overseas and it's really popular over there. And now there's several like Messi cards sell for thousands over here. Like those players that we know the stories of sell well. Mbappe, Ronaldo, like those players stuff do well because there are people that might not watch soccer every day, but they know the value is there and they know these greats in these industries. As more people get into it, they're going to want cards of those greats. So we've already seen it with soccer as kind of like a as a trend line. And I'm not saying like soccer is going to be more popular than football or basketball. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the cards, okay? So it's why is this happening though? Why is WNBA getting more popular? It's because the rookies are more popular. Like you're looking at rookies that are like huge compared to the NBA rookie. Like, you had Jerry McCain was popping off and then he got hurt and it was MCL. I think he had MCL surgery. And then you got Zach Edey and, Jalen Wells. You've got some players in there. Castle is doing great for the Spurs. You've got some good rookies, but nobody's like taking the league by storm. Compare that to the rookies in the WNBA. Rookie card prices drive those boxes. They drive that hobby. Unless you've got like a chase of like, I don't know. Well, Paul Skeen's debut, that's a rookie, so that counts as a rookie. But unless you've got like a crazy card, like a Babe Ruth Ohtani dual auto, like that stuff, I could see where it does it. But most of the time, these boxes, as I think we can all agree, they're led by the rookies of those classes. And this WNBA class has the potential to be a generational class for the hobby, not just, I say for the hobby, for WNBA, but where that relates to the hobby is that they have stories that people want to be a part of. You got, obviously, Caitlin Clark, what's up? I'm wearing a Caitlin Clark jersey. I got this actually at an Indiana Fever game last year. I think they start off like 2-8, and I went to a game kind of like right in the middle of that. It was great. I was like, look, I want to get as close as I could. It was just me because I was speaking at an education conference up there. And I was like, man, I'd love to go to the game. It kind of worked out perfectly. And I was staying at a hotel, like literally walked from my hotel to the game. So I was like, awesome. And I rolled in and I went in and I was like, I want to get some, I always like to try to grab like a jersey or a hat from games, to commemorate it. And before I bought the tickets, I was looking on and they were going pretty high, because Caitlin Clark, a lot of hype. And then I just found one ticket on StubHub. It was like a couple hundred, like less than $200. I was like, sweet. Everything else courtside was like $400 to $500. And then I saw this one pop up and I was like, sweet. So I got courtside. Like I was right there. They're playing the Seattle Storm. Jewel Lloyd, Hooper. She actually just got traded, I think. Yeah, just got traded. And Nika Mule. I can't say her first name right. Mule is her last name. M-U-H-L, I think. N-U-H-L. Oh my gosh. I know her name. It's blanking. Anyways, this rookie class led by Caitlin Clark. Then you got Angel Reese. You got Cameron Brink. Cameron was hurt a lot. May I call you Cameron? Sorry, she's a big time listener to the pod. Hey, Cam. Actually, does do a lot of like, I saw a bunch of videos pop up on my feed the other day. She was doing like a podcast style thing. It was really good. But a lot of these young players coming up into the league are bringing in that hype. And I think next year you've got Paige Beckers. She's already pretty big in the hobby. She'll be going into the draft. And then after that, I'm assuming the next year, Juju Watkins will jump into the draft. And so you've got a few years here where it's going to see, in my opinion, a steady increase. Although I think it's looking at numbers, Caitlin Clark is the biggest name out of all those. And she's a rookie in this class. And so that's why you're seeing a lot of that drive. Honestly, what it reminds me of is a lot of the hype coming into the 2003 draft. You had, LeBron James obviously was head and shoulders above the rest of the class, but then you've got D Wade, Chris Bosh, Melo, Darko. No, I'm just kidding. You had those three coming in after him. Then they had some hype, and then they ended up doing great. They had great careers. Melo never won a championship, but he still put up some amazing Hall of Fame numbers. Like, you had some great players in that class. Granted, you don't want to compare them to LeBron because LeBron is almost like a league of his own. And right now, with regards to popularity and even card prices, Caitlin Clark is in a league of her own, even in women's sports, but it's bringing up the rest of their prices. You see, and I always compare stuff like this, but if you're looking at those WNBA players, Caitlin is like Bitcoin with regards to the card prices. It's more expensive, but also it's a lot more popular. It's a lot more widely trusted. Whereas you never know what other coins are going to pop off, but they rise and fall based on that first one. And you could say that in the men's side of the hobby, where it's like Michael Jordan cards from the 90s. Michael Jordan cards are the Bitcoin of the 90s basketball collecting era. Then you look at, like different players become kind of the standard for them. And we don't know how Caitlin Clark's career is going to pan out. She did great. They turned it around after those first 10 or 12 games, and they had a really good season. And I think they'll continue to start building around. It sounds like they are building around her as their star. But it's been a really interesting thing to watch as someone who didn't. I mean, I always respected WNBA, but I never got into it. I had a few cards in my collection, WNBA players from the 90s. And I just thought it was really cool. That's when the league started, and a lot of great players. Lisa Leslie, you got Cheryl Swoops, you got a lot of great players back then, and I just think it's underappreciated. So I kept a few of them. But I think what we're seeing now is this is insane. Like, how much that price is going up. And I'll give you a practical example. I was at the Nashville Card Show, the National, not to be confused with the National. And I was walking around. I'm not kidding you guys. Like, there were so many tables that had Caitlin Clark cards. A lot of times when you go to shows, there's like one table that has some WNBA. Even at the National, there was like a couple tables that had WNBA cards, but most of them were, the ones football or basketball or baseball, or maybe like a compilation of those. At the Nashville show, I would say like at least half, if not more, of the tables had WNBA cards in there, whether it was a Caitlin Clark or other players. They were in there. I bought a Jewel Lloyd autograph card at the show. Like, you are seeing more and more of these happening at shows. People would not be having those if they weren't selling, if there was not a demand for that. So whether you watch WNBA or like it or not, you're going to see an increase because the demand is there. And that's how a lot of this stuff works. If nobody wanted to buy a Michael Jordan rookie card, it would not be valuable because people aren't buying it. You're like, well, then I would buy it. Cool. Then there's a demand there, and it would raise the prices. When people want something, want to buy something, or want to invest in something, you're going to see an increase of it. So why is this a good thing for the hobby and the WNBA? More people in the hobby equals more money and more excitement and more opportunity for people that are wanting to collect. Remember Jordan in the 90s. We talk about MJ, the GOAT. You talk about him elevating in the 90s. He elevated himself, but what did that do to the entire league? It brought the whole league up. Before MJ, like the NBA Finals, like you had Bird and Magic saved the NBA, but then Michael Jordan made it global. He made it this like the second largest sport in the United States. Like, I'm not saying Caitlin Clark is MJ, but she is bringing attention to the WNBA in a way that we have not seen up to this point. And you have some fans that are coming in for Caitlin Clark, some coming in for Angel Reese, some for that dynamic, that Magic Bird dynamic. You see people coming in for that. You have other stars that are already in the league. And I know I was always frustrating to me when these I think Diana Taurasi had a couple comments. Like, you see these vets in the league, and it's like, I understand that there's a level of jealousy, not because they're women, because, I mean, you saw NBA players say that about LeBron James. Like, what was that famous clip of the Cleveland Cavs players saying, like, oh, he'll be a good, like, he'll fit into what we're doing here. Like, bro, you were not good last year. And he came in and he now became the piece that the Cavs built around. And again, some players it works like that, sometimes it doesn't. But whenever these players come in to this league, you are always going to have a level of hesitancy. I think some players, are more accepting. These vets, they're like, I understand that they're frustrated because they want more eyes on it. You've seen it for years. These WNBA players want more people to watch. Should they get paid more? Yes, but also you get paid more because more marketing dollars come in, and more marketing dollars come in when there's more eyes on the league. And I think me personally, if I had been a vet in the league, I would hope that I wouldn't be frustrated if a young player comes in and gets more attention. Yeah, in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, I should get more attention. I'm a better player now. I've had a great career, or whatever it is. But also, you got to step back and realize like, this person's bringing the whole league up. She about to get everybody paid more. Angel Reese about to get everybody paid more. Cameron Brink about to get everybody paid more. Like, you've already got stars in the league. You got Breanna Stewart. You got Asia Wilson. Like, Asia Wilson's the best player in the WNBA. Nobody that has seen any of these players play thinks like Caitlin's the best player in the league right now. She's not. Asia Wilson is. Like, it's not even close. Like, she is an amazing player. And that's why I got one right here. I don't know if you're on the YouTube. This is not good for audio, but like I bought an Asia Wilson Select Gold out of 10, and I got it graded SGC 10. What's up? And so I'm super excited because I'm wanting to pick up some of these great players. I picked up that Joel Lloyd auto. I've got a Cameron Brink auto somewhere. I got a Juju Watkins auto. Like, I'm trying to pick up Paige Beckers. I try to pick up a lot of these great players. One, I want the card. I think it's really cool to have a piece of history from that moment where WNBA and even women college basketball is getting more attention. But also, I think it's a good investment. Like, I don't feel bad spending it because I think at any point I could sell it and make more money. There is a power in narrative with regards to sports and sports cards, okay? It's about the story, not just the talent or the player. The reason that Caitlin Clark's cards are selling more, her rookie cards, some of her big rookie cards are selling more than Asia Wilson's rookie cards, it's because the demand's there. It's got a story behind it that people want to be a part of or see opportunity in. The collecting aspect, very often we forget, it's about storytelling. Like, why do Derrick Rose cards still hold value? Why do, there's all these jokes and memes and TikToks where people is like, ask your man about Derrick Rose, and he'll start tearing up because we are connected to the story of this man's career. The youngest MVP in NBA history, and then he has this injury and he's never able to reach the heights he did. Like Tim Tebow, he is not one of the best players from that draft. It was like, what, Rob Gronkowski's year, Aaron Hernandez, like a lot of those players are in that year. Tebow's cards still sell well because the dude had a storyline that people followed. Even if sometimes he threw the football like he was skipping rocks. He had a story that people wanted to be a part of. I'm joking, Tim. Longtime listener, first-time caller. But it's like, that's the thing. I do actually have respect for Tim Tebow because we have the same initials, TT. And anybody that ever has initials TT growing up, you know. All right? The WNBA has got some of the best sports narratives right now. That stacked rookie class. You've got heated rivalries. I think Angel Reese, she's intentional about it or not, she's creating a great dynamic between her and Caitlin ever since they were in college. Like, you've got a great dynamic there that she's helping create. Like, you have people coming in, like, people watch LeBron because they either love him or they hate him. Like, you've got people that are coming in. And I want to say this, just because a player is selling well is not mean, or selling higher does not, and we know this in the hobby, does not mean it's more valuable all the way. Like, and this is not something exclusive for sports cards collecting. This is something that we see in sports. Russell Westbrook was not the best player in the league that year. The year he had all the triple doubles and their team, I think, was 4th, and he got the league MVP. He wasn't the best player in the league. His team was not the best team in the league. Like, MVP does not always go to the best player in the league. If so, LeBron James would have 10 of those things. Like, Kobe would have 5. Like, MJ would have 10 to 12 of those. Like, the MVP, yes, they're a great player, but also they have a story that people want to be etched in history. Derrick Rose did not have better stats that year than LeBron James, but he got it because he was so young and he was leading that Bulls team to these awesome numbers. And again, LeBron should have won if it was going to the best player. That's not how it works. We as humans are connected to stories. We are connected to stories. So before I end this, I do want to have a section, and we can call this the hater section if you want. And it's just it's a PSA. And if it's you, you're more you can get offended about anything you want. You can get your feelings hurt. That's fine. But I'm going to say something because I have this podcast that I make $0 from. that I did as a reason for me to get my thoughts and opinions out there. And again, this is Tyler's opinion. I posted a picture on Instagram today, and it was like somebody had tweeted and they said, I'm a PE teacher, and today in class, I had a young boy in my class shoot the ball from half court, and before he shot it, he yelled, Caitlin Clark, and shot it. Because, Caitlin Clark, she's obviously famous. She shoots logo threes, deep threes, and he shot it and yelled, Caitlin Clark, and shot it. Said first time ever, and thought that was pretty cool. And they said it was like a new era of women's sports, which I think is amazing. So that's why I like screenshot it and post it on my account. And in the caption, I said, I remember as a senior, we used to say like Kobe, and we'd shoot it. I don't remember ever saying MJ, even though he was my favorite, but we say Kobe and shoot trash into the trash can. And I remember when I was a senior in high school, played basketball, and whenever I was not a very good shooter, but whenever I would just like yeet it from really far back, you want to like make a joke. So it doesn't, like, if you miss it really bad, people are like, wow, you're a bad shooter. They just focus on the joke. And I would yell, JJ Redick, and I would shoot it from really far away. And it was because at the time, JJ Redick was playing at Duke, and he was good at shooting threes. And so that was the joke. And I kind of said that in the caption. And there was somebody in the comments that said something like, talking about the kid that yelled Caitlin Clark, said the kid needs more masculinity or something like that. And, I hear these comments at card show. Have you ever gone to a card show? Some of the characters that are there. So I hear people make comments. I've been at work one time. I think I have a Indiana Fever sweatshirt or something, or I'd said something about me going to the game, and somebody made the comment like, ugh, WNBA stuff, it'll die down. Like, essentially like rooting for it not to be popular, which I don't understand at all. Like, you don't have to watch it. Like, if you don't want to see a movie, don't go watch it. If you don't want to watch a sport, don't go watch it. But like, I don't understand like wanting it to fail. Like, why would you want it to not be popular? Like, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you're one of those people, my guess is you're around other people who are making comments like that. And I don't know if they're making it to hear validation from other people who think and say the same thing. Maybe they are sexist, or maybe they don't want women's sports to do well. I don't know. Whatever the reason is, that's lame. I'm just going to say it. Like, you sound soft. When you make comments like that, degrading somebody who likes WNBA or wants to root for the WNBA or is into women's sports, if you degrade that by making those kinds of comments, or like, oh, you should watch dude sports, like, you sound so ridiculous. Like, people might not be saying it to you, but anybody who has like any level of security in themselves is looking at you like, bro, you soft. Like, that's literally, like, here's my thing. If you're saying those things, that is insecurity. You are insecure in who you are as a man to where you can't root or like something that you don't get basic public validation from other mid dudes. Like, that's what you're seeking. You're seeking the approval of other guys who aren't confident enough to have their own opinion or their own likes or dislikes. I'm not saying you have to like it or root for it, but if you're making a comment against it, that is the most basic thing you could do. Like, that is so basic and so, I don't know. It honestly, I can't think of a better word that's not super degrading besides insecure. Like, here's the deal. Grow up. Like what you want to like. If you want to watch women's sports as a dude, go watch it. Root for it. Wear your jersey. Like, I wear this jersey in situations where I'm around dudes who I think have that old school mentality. Like, that just lame, like, oh, we gotta like this, we gotta like that. This is watch football every Sunday. Like, I don't watch football. I watched more WNBA this past year than I watched football. I don't care. Like, football's fine. Like, I play Madden with my son. I'll play NCAA football with my son on his PS5 because I want to hang out with him. But also, like, I don't identify myself because I'm like, oh, I watch dudes push other dudes over. Like, it's fine. And I'm probably honestly jaded about it because I played high school basketball, and our high school was like way more football, and they were always trying to like suppress the basketball side of it. It's whatever. That's probably on me. But I also don't like look down on dudes who are like, I'm like, oh man, you're soft for watching football. Like, watch what you want to watch. Stop being so rude to people. Like, you don't have to like it. But you also, if you want to say you don't like it, all you're doing is telling other people that you're insecure about who you are as a dude. So that's my opinion. You can disregard it because who cares? I'm not your boss. Think what you want to think, but that's what I'm thinking. Every time I hear a dude say that at a card show or in the comments, I'm thinking, you soft, my guy. Be a little bit more confident. So That's it. Wow, that ended on a weird note. But also, that's why I have this podcast, so I can give my opinion, and that's what I think. That's what I think. I'd love to know your thoughts. If you're on YouTube, throw it in the comments. If it's really rude or mean, I'm probably going to delete it because they're my comments, and I'm going to protect them. And so, if you want a reference on that, go watch the backyard breaks episode. But I don't know. I think I'd love your opinions, love your thoughts, even if you don't like it. Do you have any cards? Have you collected any cards? Have you sold any? Give me your thoughts on the WNBA, and especially with the Prizm being more valuable. The reason it's more valuable is because Caitlin Clark's cards are selling a lot higher than a lot of those other rookies. So those are my thoughts. That's it. That's all we got for today's episode. Try to do a new podcast episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We also post like card specific videos on Tuesday and Thursday. So if you're on the YouTube, you get a new video every morning at 7 a.m. Central. If you are on the podcast, you get a new podcast every morning, Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. If you want to rate it 5 stars, that helps get the word out. But if not, no big deal. Just keep collecting dope cards. Dope quadrilaterals. I don't know why I started to say quadrilaterals too soon. That's what the problem was. Y'all be good, stay sweet, and never stop collecting. Sports cards are dope. So are you. Later.